Hello, welcome to this very special edition of the Bass Report. Reporting live here at SOB's here in New York City. Making and blessing the band stage tonight is soul diva as well as reality TV star Syleena Johnson. As you might know, she has a brand new record. In fact, tonight is the official New York record release party for Chapter 6, Couples Therapy. In this album, she continues to dive into a lot of the very personal as well as the struggles as well as the rewards of marriage. This record is no different. In fact, this album has great duets with the likes of Leela James as well as Dave Hollister. As you might know, she is part of TV1's B Divas, which features the likes of Monifa as well as Angie Stone as well as Nikki Gilbert. We also earlier talked about this brand new record. We talked about her origins growing up in Harvey, Illinois. Also, we talked about her great legendary blues and soul icon father, Syl Johnson, as well as talk about the reason why reality television has helped actually enhance her career at a time when a lot of major independent artists like herself are really trying to do their thing. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the official New York record release of Syleena Johnson's Chapter 6, Couples Therapy, here at SOB's here in New York City. It's part of the Bass Report. Welcome to New York. Congratulations on the official record release performance. This album is the 6th chapter. Tell me about this versus the other 5.
Well, I think that this album is a little more expressive than my other albums. Not saying that I didn't express myself in the other albums, but this one I'm talking specifically about my personal marriage and how it relates to all couples. You know, I took actual elements from couples therapy that I currently am in with my husband and infused them into this album.
You know, this album, you have some guest appearances on here. You do a duet with Dave Hollister, and you also do Willie Taylor and Leela James. You know, one of the things I want to ask you is that you've really kind of taken the bull by the horns in your career and become really kind of an independent artist now. How is it now in this part of your career versus when you started off doing the things that you want to do artistically?
I'm much more calm. I'm calmer. I'm more at peace, and I know what I want musically, and I have control over that. As before, I had control, you know, to some extent. They relied on me for what I wanted to do. They didn't try to make me. Jive Records never tried to make me record or do anything. You know, they were influential, you know, as far as what kind of album they wanted, but they didn't make me do anything. But now I can really feel comfortable and at peace with what I like to do and staying in the lane that I like to stay in and just really owning it and embracing it.
You know, the music video that you have out is pretty deep and intense. I mean, for the song coming out of the gate for your album, explain the concept of this song and how you came about in putting this together.
Well, the song is very, to me, is sad. And I didn't want to just touch on the classic, you know, cheat on me story. I wanted to talk more about, like, what are the real consequences of this? Like, what could really happen? You know, how could this really go wrong? How can I really get the emotion across as strong as possible? So with that, you know, I went there with the whole suicide concept. Plus, I wanted to bring awareness to suicide, you know, to the epidemic of suicide. For me, really, I'm an advocate for I'm an advocate against bullying, and bullying causes a lot of suicide. So this was a way I could, you know, utilize the suicide hotline, not utilize it, but allow myself to, allow my music to get the Jesus, what am I trying to say? This was a way I could use my gift to help others, you know, and give an avenue for a way out of suicide, you know, as opposed to, let's say, so you're sitting there, you're watching the video, you've been contemplating it, and you don't have anyone to talk to. But then when the suicide hotline comes up, it's like, oh, maybe I could call them, you know, because no one's sitting around like, I'm definitely going to kill myself, you know. It's usually a situation where they're contemplating it. You know, it's not a decision. I mean, I'm just assuming. I'm assuming that it's not just a definitive decision. I'm going to kill myself. You know what I'm saying? You know, most of the time we come to these type of conclusions because we don't have anyone to talk to. We have no one to express our emotions and feelings to. So this was a great way to put out there that hotline. You know, a lot of people I know don't even know that there's a suicide hotline number like that. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people in the black community don't know. And if they probably know of it, but they don't know the actual number. You know what I'm saying? They probably wouldn't even go to look for it.
You know, I have to commend you because a lot of people don't really. Suicide is part of mental illness too, and that, along with cancer, is really killing the African American community.
Absolutely, mental illness is running rampant, which is another reason why I call the album Couples Therapy. Therapy is something that is very necessary for our people and for all people. We don't, but see, other cultures, they embrace therapy because their cultures have made it okay to do so. Our culture, the African American culture, feels like therapy means you're crazy, which is not the case. Therapy is really, it's a really good method of healing your the mental destruction that's going on inside of you. Like a friend of mine, she just lost her mother, and we were talking the other day, and she was just like, I feel terrible, and I just don't know whether I'm coming or going. And she was just like, I think I'm gonna go see someone. And I was like, that's the greatest idea. She was like, because I can't take it anymore. I've got health insurance. It's covered under health insurance. You know, if you get stabbed, you're gonna go to the hospital. So if there's something wrong with you mentally, you should go to a doctor as well for that. So I just think that Black people need to utilize that resource more. You know what I'm saying? Because it's mental illness is ridiculous, and it is in a lot of people. And they don't even know it, you know. So I think we should embrace therapy more, which is another reason why I named the album Couples Therapy. Love needs to be talked out, needs therapy as well. These love relationships, rather.
As much as I want to deny, I hate our fairy tale love had to end. It was all a lie. But I swear never in a million, never would have taken you for a coward. A pillow full of tears, left in disgrace. All my time is you can't replace. And I thought we were strong. Yes, I was wrong. Now I'm here standing alone with you. And I'll play the fool. I'll play the broke all the rules while loving you. Tell me this ain't true. Say true, 'cause I'm blaming you. I'm blaming you for acting like our shit was perfect. Now I know perfectly worthless. And now the only thing to do is pick up these pieces and nothing left to prove. Come on now, 'cause I know I'm a treasure. I'm royal, I'm precious. I'll just let time heal me through. Sit tight to us and since that's what y'all said, I'll play the fool. Tell me this ain't true, 'cause I'm blaming you. For acting like our shit was perfect. Now I know it's
Syleena, you know, there has been this resurgence I'm seeing now of a lot of great soul vocalists coming out. You are doing your thing, Avery Sunshine. There's quite a few of you out there. What is it about now, the music scene changing now, and people now coming and flocking to your shows and buying your music that they can relate to?
They're tired of the imbalance. They're nutrient. What is the word?
Malnutrition.
Malnutrition. No, but it's when a person is malnutritious. They're malnutrition.
They're searching for something.
No, meaning like I'm trying to find a proper saying for this. This is ridiculous because I'm a nutrition.
They're lacking.
They're a lack of nutrition. That's what malnutrition. They're malnutrition. That's not the word. I'm going to figure it out when I get out of here.
You got that right.
But basically, they lack musical nutrition, okay? And what happens is they have an imbalance in their diet of music. And it's just like I said to, someone else, if you sit down at a table and you're getting ready to eat, you don't have just a steak on the table. You got steak, you got potatoes, you got some broccoli, possibly some vegetables, and a glass of wine, maybe even some water. It's a whole thing, you know what I'm saying, to be a balanced meal. You see what I'm saying? And we're not, the radio and the industry is just not feeding the people properly. And so there's an imbalance, and people are hungry. So they're coming out to these shows to find something else, to get something else, which is awesome for us. And I tell everybody, like, what do you think about the industry and it's changing this and the third and the state it's in? It's going to change. It's going to evolve. It's evolution. It's going to evolve. Every time has its turn. You know what I'm saying? And that's okay. Because sometimes I do want to turn up the trap music in the club. But then when I go home, I don't want to hear that, and I should be able to have another option. And I don't think that, getting rid of music is the answer. I think that adding some more of our music is the answer. Adding some more R&B is the answer. Adding some more of that to our children. Giving them the option to have more substance in the lyrical content. You know what I'm saying? When we were kids, Stevie Wonder was our hero. You know what I'm saying? Marvin Gaye, Donny Hathaway, Whitney Houston, Aretha Franklin, Prince, Michael Jackson. That was the sound of our streets. And if it was hip hop, it was like battling. Nobody was trying to kill each other until it got to like gangster rap, and then that took a whole nother turn. But it didn't start off that way. It did not start that way with Kool Herc and them back in the day. It wasn't like that. So, and I think that, it was less crimes and killings and bullying and suicide and all of that back then. It's always been there, but it was less. So I just think that we really need to, I think the people coming out to these shows because they're hungry, and we really need to feed them.
And what I see, every time I see you, I see Tina Turner, I see Shaka Khan,
Yes.
I see the elements of what soul music used to be.
Because that's what I grew up listening to, and that's what I know. And I grew up in a house with an entertainer, a very good entertainer. My dad is amazing on stage. He's 77 now, but at 35, 40, he was a monster. I mean, a monster on stage. I'm talking about jumping off the stage, gyrations, guitar, like bananas, So that's what I grew up seeing. That's my standard. You know what I'm saying? That's my, example. And then watching Whitney Houston or Toni Braxton perform on an award show and stand still and capture an entire audience, bring down the whole house standing in one spot. To me, like, that was like the epitome of a performer. Or remember when Michael Jackson did Billie Jean? And he did the moonwalk for the first time. I will never forget it, child. It was the greatest event ever in life. He was up there by himself. He had not one background dancer. He had not one nothing. He was up there by himself. He did an entire dance to Billie Jean. It was the greatest thing I've ever seen. And that is stained in my memory forever. We don't have that anymore. I watch these award shows, I be damn near about to fall asleep. It's horrendous. It's a bunch of running across the stage, whole bunch of 1,000 people, 75,000 dancers. Nobody can hold nothing on their own anymore. It's just like a whole production. So I just, I appreciate when Jill Scott come up there and stand still. Or Anthony Hamilton comes out, which they won't let him perform full out because he tear up the whole stage. But like he'll be in a medley or something. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate those. Or when R. Kelly sang When a Woman's Love, he took it back and showed us what time it really is. You know what I'm saying? When Beyonce did Love on Top, even though she had all the people but she opened up her stomach with the baby, but still she was by herself just jamming. That to me, those are the performances that, and that's the music to me that lasts forever. I can't tell you how many songs I done forgot that used to be the number one songs.
You grew up in Harvey, Illinois.
Yes, I do.
And
H-Town?
And I want to go to
By way of Chi-Town.
Right, Chi-Town. And I want to add that one of the greatest soul groups came out of your
Absolutely.
hometown, the Mighty Dells.
The Dells, absolutely. And I used to model for Rose McGill, which was Mickey of the Dells' wife. And that's how I got my lawyer when I was got my contract, when I got my first offer from Jive Records. Mickey set me up with Alan Siegel, which was my lawyer, and to this day still I'm represented by Ralph DePalma, who was under Alan when he retired. But I was with Alan all the way till he retired, and he's been my lawyer forever.
We're going to go back to your dad, because your dad, I think, he was on High Records, and he, I think, was criminally underrated at the time. I mean, he was under a cadre, Ann Peebles, Al Green.
He wrote "Take Me to the River."
He wrote, there you go. You know, I want to ask you about your dad and your relationship to the music, because I understand he tried to steer you away from the industry, but this was your calling. You knew this is what you wanted to do.
Well, I didn't really know that this was what I wanted to do, but he did try to steer me away. He said the business was too hard. He didn't want me to be a part of it. But I didn't really know that that was what I wanted to do until I got to college. I was 18 years old, and I sang at a talent show, and but I had been recording and everything. I had recorded albums since I was 15, but I was just doing it because my dad wanted me to, and I loved it. It was fun. It was something that I could do, but I didn't really get that eye of the tiger passion until I got to college and did this talent show, and then that's my ignorant phone. Until I got to this talent show, and I sang Whitney Houston, I Will Always Love You, and got a standing ovation. And that's when I realized, oh my God, this is what I want to do. It was something about the way the crowd responded that was such a satisfying thing, because this was an instance where I could be happy and so could they at the same damn time, So I was like, what's better than this, And then that's when I kind of just started really getting serious about it, and that's when I knew. And then shortly after, I got a call from Jive Records, and 3 days later, I went to go see them, and then 4 months later, I was signed.
You are getting ready to be part of Marriage Boot Camp. And, a lot of your music and now this boot camp, you really like to put your business out there. You want people to really understand who the real you and what you really go through. How hard and how easy is it being married to actually put you really shedding your skin out to the world?
It's really deep, but are we living our lives to be about our lives? I mean, God put us here for service. Your test is your testimony. And what I go through will get someone else through their next thing. And it's not our job to hold it all in. Who are we holding it in for? When you're gone and dead, who'd you hold it in for? you know. So I'm not incriminating myself. I'm not damaging my marriage. As a matter of fact, Marriage Boot Camp made my husband and I closer. The program was amazing. We went there for the actual program, and what a blessing to be able to go there, get paid to do something that people pay to do to help my marriage. To me, that was a blessing, and a blessing well deserved and well needed. You know what I'm saying? So kudos to Jesus for allowing me to be able to go through something like that with my husband, because we really did need that. That was a real thing we needed to go through. And it's not about, I don't just walk around and, hey, let's put this business out. Actually, you know, these opportunities come because I feel like they come from the Lord. And I feel like these are opportunities for us to heal. There's that mental illness again. You know what I'm saying? If my fans can see me go through something and then go get help for it in front of everyone, then they can surely go get help for it behind closed doors and feel good about the results. You know what I'm saying? And feel like they're not alone. So absolutely, Iyanla was a great thing. I've been studying and following Iyanla Vanzant since Value in the Valleys. When I was 16 years old, this lady's book came out, and I've been reading her book since then. So to get the opportunity to be in front of Iyanla and ask questions and get answers, again, another blessing. Unfortunately, it's on TV, but is it unfortunate? Is it a bad thing to actually go through something in front of others? We go through stuff in front of people all the time. It's just not at a mass level. So, I mean, what is really the taboo? People think that everything is always bad. Everything's always got to be so bad and negative. What about the good that can come from it? You know, what about the people that have watched the show and called me and said, what about the lady that I just got a message from this week that says, I have your album and I'm working on my marriage now? Or the woman who says, I walked away from a relationship because of guess what? Or a woman who says, I saw fix my life with my mother and father, with your mom and your family, and I have a whole new perspective now and respect for my mom. Or the people that say, or the people that are going to say, I watched you and Kiwan go through marriage boot camp, and oh my God, we have that exact same issue, and now I understand him because he gets to say his point of view and I get to say mine. What about those things? You know what I'm saying? So I do it for that. Same reason why I'm very transparent in my actual music. I'm very transparent in my music. Now, of course, there are things that people won't know and that are not any of their business. But there are things that I feel would be a great story to tell to get somebody to the next level in their life and help me get myself through the next level by watching it.
R&B Divas has really kind of put you in a whole nother stratosphere. Do you feel that now that the reality TV shows like that have become like the new thing for one? I know it's getting a lot of exposure for you now, but is it kind of like helping the music industry as a whole? Because all of you guys have different backgrounds and you guys have come from different struggles and different kinds of issues. How has it helped you, and how has it been a hindrance to you to do R&B Divas?
R&B Divas has been more of a positive for me, particularly, and particularly as opposed to a negative. The pros outweigh the cons for me. The cons are not being able to see the editing, which actually, no, that ain't no con, because I don't want to see the editing. The cons are not the relationships that are burned, the bridges that are burned, coming in one way with someone and then finding out that they're another because they get in front of that camera and then they act a fool. So that's the con, and not really knowing who's gonna act like what on the set. You know what I'm saying? It causes anxiety. Because I'm a person. I'm not confrontational. I don't care to sit up and argue with people. That's just not. I would rather laugh and crack jokes the entire time. But some people have a very bad time in their life, and they cannot thrive unless the environment is a negative place. And they'll do whatever they have to do to make it that place in order for them to feel comfortable. So you kind of have to deal with that concept, having to deal with a bunch of different people with mental illness, and as you're dealing with your own mental illness, right? So that's tough. But the pros are, we have a platform to expand R&B music, And we can also be looked at as pioneers of it because we are the characters on a show that is called R&B Music. We have a God-given gift that we are now able to share with a bigger platform and really get our music out there and really expand our brands and really just get our message out there. The one that's supposed to be that we've been fighting to get out there. As a writer, I do have a message. You know, I feel like my voice is just a vehicle for the big picture, which is the message in the words, in the lyrics, in the songs. So, I mean, to be able to have a platform, to be able to get what we've been fighting to, supposedly what we've been fighting for out all this time, is a huge blessing. And I would do it again and again and again. Even when people got on my nerves, I just sit there and go through it again and again and again because there's a greater good going on here. There's a bigger picture. For me, I've been allowed to connect with my fans in such a way that I wasn't allowed to do before. So I'm excited. I like R&B Divas and what it's done for the music, what it's done for the industry. There's no other show out there like it. It's one of a kind, and I'm very, very proud. Very, very proud that I'm one of the originals, you know, that I was instrumental in putting a stamp on the entire R&B Divas brand. So I'm excited for that. But the negatives, you know, it's TV, you know, sometimes that gets on your nerve. But see, stuff don't bother me like it bother other people, like crazy stalker people going off on you on social media. That don't scare me because that's like y'all having a bad time on the computer. So, I mean, you somewhere just fingers on fire typing. Right. But I don't know you, won't ever find you or see you, nor do I care. And it's very simple to push block. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm cool with y'all having a bad time because I feel you. I have a bad time too. You got to release some anger, go right ahead. Just don't walk up on me on the street because it's going to get different. I am from the Chi. Okay then, but that type of stuff is not really a negative to me because, you know, it's whatever. It's crazy people all over the place, so you know, that's not gonna stop me. It's just the relationships, the bridges that I burn, which really is hard. It's hard, you know, how to skate in between, you know, how to deal with all these different emotions and people and personalities from production to everyone, you know. So it's hard. That's what's hard, but it's, you know, the reward is pretty big if you can handle it.
That'll do it again for this very special edition of the Pace Report. I'm Brian Pace reporting live here at SOB's here in New York City as part of Syleena Johnson's official New York record release performance for Chapter 6 Couples Therapy. I'd like to thank her as well as the staff and management here at SOB's for their warm hospitality. As always, please visit my website, www.thepacereport.com, for my weekly column as well as my past segments. Until next time, remember, if it's in the groove, it'll make you move. Till next time, peace.